Hey guys, Pastor Rod, happy Wednesday morning. You know, I so enjoy finding passages that the translators handle slightly differently between the translations. There are words that one translation will say it this way and another will say it a different way. And usually in that there's a deep truth if you can understand why they were handled differently. One of the ones I want to share with you this morning is in John chapter 1, verse 5. Most of the translators handle it this way: the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. You'll find that in the English Standard, the New Living, the Berean. A lot of the NIV, a lot of them will have it handled that way. However, when you get to the King James, New King James, the NASB, they tend to handle it a little different. They say the darkness did not comprehend it, or the darkness did not understand it. And if you go to the Amplified Bible, the Amplified tries to handle these words in a clearer fashion, so the verses get a little bit longer. The Amplified says it this way: the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not understand it, or overpower it, or appropriate it, or absorb it, and is unreceptive to it. The word that is causing some question here is the Greek katalambano, and it means to overcome, but it also carries a context of overcoming through understanding. You'll find that it's translated again in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 18. It's Paul writing. He says that you may have the power, together with all of God's holy people, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ. So it's a power to lay hold of something by understanding it, to grasp its depths, to perceive it in such a way that you can control it, that I understand it so I can handle it. Since the darkness cannot understand the light, it can't handle the light, can't work within the light, it can't overcome the light, it can't beat the light. Now on the surface that probably seems pretty logical. If I come into a dark room, flip on the lights, all of a sudden everything is illuminated and the light overcame the darkness, or extinguished the darkness, or pushed out the darkness. Light always overcomes darkness. Darkness cannot overcome light. I think we all know that. But one of the things that's very odd, and I think darkness finds it odd, if you think about the early hours of the morning, maybe you're out walking your dog or something, the sun hasn't come up yet, and you got this little flashlight. And this little flashlight can, it can kind of light your way a little bit. You can see what's ahead of you for a little ways, but you can't see everything around you. It certainly is not overcoming the darkness. It's a great help in the darkness, but it's not overcome the darkness. That isn't going to happen until the dawn breaks and the sun comes up, and then the sun, in all of its power, will eradicate the darkness. I think the darkness understands that. I think the darkness gets that idea. What it doesn't get is how, in the process of you holding your little flashlight and you not being able to overcome the darkness with it, somehow, the darker the darkness gets, the brighter your little flashlight seems to get. It's as if darkness amplifies light. And that's just counterintuitive. You wouldn't expect that to happen, but we all see it and know it to be true. If I'm driving my car late at night and there's a bunch of kids out and they're all wearing black pants and shirts and jackets, and I have a really hard time seeing them, that can make me nervous. But if you give one of those kids a flashlight and they're holding it out there, even though it's just a pin of light, because it's so dark, that light is amplified, my eye is drawn to it immediately. This is the whole idea of reflectors on bicycles and shoes and things like that. That little bit of light can be amplified in the midst of a very dark place. And I think in many ways this is what Jesus was talking about in Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. He says this, he says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl, Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify the Father in heaven. See, as the sun begins to set, that city on a hill would go dark, and you would never know it's there. But what happens is, a little at a time, the people light their candles, and they put them on the table, and pretty soon through the window, all these little lights are shining. And now, in the midst of great darkness, the darkness itself has actually amplified the light. And I think, friends, the darkness finds that very confusing. The darker it gets, the brighter we tend to get. And all it can do is go darker and darker, and as it goes darker and darker, we just get lighter and lighter. It's the great paradox of light and darkness. Now, when the sun comes up in the morning, when Christ comes, when the dawn breaks, it will outshine us so many-fold, and then at that point in time, darkness itself will be removed. Darkness will be scattered. That it can understand. Today, I just want to encourage you with this. You are the light of the world. You are called to be the light of the world. I think sometimes we get confused about who we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing and what we're fighting for. Friends, we're here to proclaim the gospel. We're here to light the way to those who are caught in a lost and dying world. Today, I want to encourage you in the midst of a very dark world. Just be light. You don't have to go crazy. Just be light. And the darker it gets, the brighter you will shine, because the darkness simply doesn't know what to do with it. Friends, have an awesome week.